Hello! Why is the saying, murder's a hatter, not particularly funny? And what do cricketers mean when they talk of googlies and flippers? Where can Sanskrit still be heard today? When can I meet Prince Charles? And, most important, how do I get down from here?
Hey now, say now, let's get away now, away with words. Words like we say each and every day, away with words. What's in a name? What do you say? And so many words at the end of the day. I talk, you talk, they talk, we all talk, away with words. Away with words, away.
English has always been a multicultural language. Celtic, Saxon, Greek, Latin, French, German, Norse. But more surprisingly, many words come from the subcontinent of India. Today, Away with Words is going to celebrate the Indo-European heritage of this language we call English. I'm on my way to a Hindu temple to hear the oldest language in the world, Sanskrit. Now this may not look like a Hindu temple, but it is.
This is the Hindu temple in Luton. The prayers are chanted in Hindi and Sanskrit, a language that has been around for over 4,000 years. Sanskrit means perfected. It was the first language to introduce grammar. It has a past tense, a future tense, and a present tense. Greek, Latin, and English owe a lot to Sanskrit. But which part of the service is Hindi and which part is Sanskrit?
When the singing stops and the bell stops, and then there's verses being chanted, that's the Sanskrit.
That's the Sanskrit.
And all the verses that follow. Right at the end, you have some verses which say, Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva. Mata means mother. Bandhu means brother, and the other Sanskrit word for brother is brada.
Bratha?
So Bratha is brother and Matha is mother. And children are the same the world over.
Chandra, you're from the Department of Linguistics at Luton University, and you're an expert on how Sanskrit and English are related. How many words are actually related?
The link is much more integral in terms of it being linked to the grammatical constructions and words that are borrowed. But there are some words which have become quite common in English. And these words, say for example, Pandit or Guru or Karma, for example, these are words which have been borrowed. But this particular borrowing has gone on through, say, nearly 2,000 to 3,000 years.
Because people find words useful, they use them. I mean, it doesn't take professors to say, oh, you shouldn't say that.
So, what better place to discover some of the Indo-European influence on English than right here in Luton, home to more than 32,000 people who originate from the subcontinent of India.
European influence in the Indian subcontinent began with the Portuguese in the early 1600s. By the late 1600s, the English had taken over, when the East India Trading Company was formed. So it isn't surprising that over 900 Indian words have made their way into the English language. Words like bungalow. Bungalow comes from the Hindi word Bangla, meaning Bengal, where lots of one-storey houses with thatched roofs were very common. You'd be surprised how many Sanskrit words are in use today. Jungle, pundit, guru, and ginger are all Sanskrit. But believe it or not, so is juggernaut. Juggernaut comes from not one but two Sanskrit words, Jagat meaning world and Natha meaning Lord. Lord of the world was a title given to the god Krishna. Every year in East India, an image of Krishna was carried in procession on a huge cart with enormous wheels. It's from this cart that juggernaut has come to mean any large vehicle, like this one. Shampoo comes from the Hindi word shampna, meaning to press. Originally it was a form of head massage. This little lot should last me 9 or 10 months. Pyjamas. Loose trouser garment with a drawstring, worn by Muslim men and women as everyday clothing. And of course, curry. Curry comes from the 17th century Tamil word kari, meaning sauce. And if you're one of these people who like your curry really, really hot, a good tip is to get some of these and keep them in the fridge. And there are more Indian words joining the English language even as I speak. All of them to do with cuisine. This is the Alankar Indian restaurant, one of the finest in Luton, and I've been invited into the kitchen. Now, I've often ordered food from an Indian restaurant before, but never from the kitchen. Oh, cool. Can I place an order? How about some basmati rice?
Yeah, I'll do so.
All right. Basmati rice. Basmati simply means fragrant. So how's the chicken biryani? I see you added some rice and tomato. Biryani simply means fried. And how about a chapati to go with it?
We'll make some chapati to show you.
Can you show me how to make a chapati? Can I have a go? Chapati means flattened or rolled out. How's that then? Will that do? And here is the tandoori, which is Urdu for oven. And I guess that's chicken tikka. You could say that this is pretty basmati as well. Well, this is giving me a wonderful appetite. I think it's time I went into the restaurant and savoured it. Well, just to remind ourselves, basmati means fragrant, biryani means fried, although I can't quite see how biryani egg is going to catch on yet. Chapati is flattened and rolled out. Tandoori is Urdu for oven. And garam masala is hot spice. And while we're here, chutney is a relish of fruit and spices. And poppadoms, well, they've become part of the great British tradition of a curry and about 10 pints on a Friday night. But what else have we given them in exchange? How about the British cup of tea? No, they gave us that. Biscuits? No, don't be silly. I know. The English language. The English language is the official language of India. We have also given them that most English of sports, cricket. And here I am about to enjoy a practice game with the Luton Indian Cricket Club Colt team. Cricket is a very old game indeed, not as old as Sanskrit, but it's thought to date back to the 13th century when shepherds used to play with crooks for bats and use a ball made of sheep gut. Play.
I'm not sure where fluke comes from. I'll have to look it up.
Cricketing is full of weird and wonderful language. For example, a googly or a Chinaman is the name for a ball which turns away from a batsman when the batsman thinks it's going to turn towards him. Have a go. No, that was going to go past. A flipper is another name for a ball. This one hits the ground and skids along and hardly touches it at all. The flipper.
Come on, come on!
Deepesh, come and have a quick word to the camera.
Right.
Now, can you show us how you twist the ball this way and that?
Oh, sorry, it's my own secret. I just can't tell you.
Not even for television?
Nah, sorry. Just can't be done, sorry.
Fair enough. I mean, you wouldn't ask a conjurer to give away his secrets, would you? I mean, rabbits out of hats and all that. There's some pretty daft names for field placing as well. Long leg, short leg, square leg. But this is one of the daftest. It's called Silly Midon because it's a silly place to stand. You're so close you could be hit by the ball or the bat. And Vishnu, there's a good lad. Think of the team. How many do they have? 4 and a no ball? There's 2 more balls to go. 2 more to go. I need the other umpire. Hey, can we have the third umpire, please? What did you see? Definitely. Oh, I was dead on line. Oh well, to bowl out 3 batsmen with 3 consecutive balls was considered such an impossible feat that the first time it happened they passed a hat round. It's since become known as a hat trick. Well, I can't promise you 3 consecutive wickets, but I can promise you a hat trick if you come away with words in part 2 after the break. Come on lads, it's a bit too dark now, we've had a great game. Oh, I know. It was a draw, the light stopped us. Bad light stopped play. Luton was once home to 250 hat makers, and soon we shall find out where mad as a hatter comes from. But first, why do magicians do this? Well, it's simple. Before the introduction of silk, hats were made out of rabbit fur. So when a magician pulls a rabbit out of the hat, he's doing the complete reversal of hat making, which is making a hat out of a rabbit. Here in Luton, they've been making hats for hundreds of years. In the 17th century, the surrounding villages were famous for straw plaiting, and straw hat making for men, women and children was a cottage industry. Over the years, demand grew, and when new materials and skills became available, purpose-built factories grew up in the town, making Luton the centre of hat making in England. Now even the football team is known as the Hatters. What's that bit in the inside then? Is that the...
That is the net inside that.
Right.
That is the stuff that goes hard.
Right, that's the... Yeah.
That's your diesel, what they both sides stick to.
That's the stuff that's replaced the mercury. Well, no, they say the mercury was the stuff that they used to stiffen it with. Oh, yeah. And if you sniffed that for 25 years, you're a bit loopy. You know.
Yeah.
Hence, mad as a hatter.
Yeah, you might be right.
Anyway, thanks for letting me butt in.
When you think of it, mad as a hatter isn't really funny. Not when madness is an industrial injury.
It's like New York. Doesn't it get a bit hot in here from time to time, guys?
Certainly does. That's a little bit.
So you're steaming in, that helps you steam it into shape.
Just softens it.
Yeah.
Softens the material.
It goes in the mould.
Not too bad, mate. And that don't normally happen.
Cut, they say. It's obviously a high-risk business. They get clearly mad. My word, it's dark in here. Where am I? Where's the switch? Aha! Lots and lots of hats. Hat comes from the Old Norse word hotra, meaning hood. And there are lots of everyday sayings involving the word hat. For example, bad hat, old hat, at the drop of a hat. Well, I'll eat my hat, pass the hat round. But you could say I was talking through my hat. So let's try some others on, shall we? Trilby, named after the Daphne du Maurier novel of 1890 called Trilby. Stetson, howdy partner, named after the guy who invented it. Stetson, Guy Stetson, Schmo Stetson, who knows? The deerstalker, more associated with Sherlock Holmes than anything else, but this one could do quite well for animal rights. I mean, any wild animal seeing this would run a mile. Wouldn't you? Turban, which comes from the same origin as tulip, because it resembles the shape of a tulip. And the origin is the Persian word dulband, which has nothing to do with oasis. Anyway, enough of this madness. I should hasten to add that none of the hats we've just seen are made here in this factory. In fact, I'm off to see the sales and marketing director, the delightful Vivian Vassiers.
With our name on it.
Vivian, do you know where the word milliner comes from?
Oh, that's always a big debate in the trade, and I've looked it up in the dictionary, and it says it's come from Milan. At Milan, milliners, millinery, and they were salesmen who came to the UK to sell their braid, and the braid was called a Milan braid. That, I believe, is what I found in the dictionary.
Well, I think some of the stories you have to believe and some of them you don't, but I believe that one. Vivian,
it's a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Hats have always been a status symbol. In ancient Greece, only free citizens had the right to wear a hat. Slaves had to go around bareheaded.
For centuries, hats have told us something about the people wearing them. Hence the expression, if the cap fits, wear it.
One of the most egocentric stories to do with a hat involves the Emperor of Austria. He ordered the hapless Swiss to pay homage to his hat. And when William Tell refused, he was ordered to shoot an apple off his son's head. The rest is history. But I suppose the ultimate status headgear has to be the crown. And I'm on my way up the River Ouse to Bedford to see Prince Charles open and name a new bridge. River Ouse. Ouse. What a lovely word. It sounds like the mud on the side of the river. There are lots of words around the river that sound like the things they are, like splash and plop, dip and ripple. And there's a word that describes those kind of words too. It's called onomatopoeia. And you could say that onomatopoeia, choosing words that sound like things they are, was probably the basis of the spoken language, even long before Sanskrit. Yeah, it's very peaceful on the river. Do you think Prince Charles would approve of this bridge? Do you think he'd
going to ask him.
Is he going to call it the Carbuncle Bridge? What would you call it? What would you like to call the bridge?
Butterfly Bridge. Name it off.
Butterfly Bridge.
Henry Bridge.
What's your name then?
Wayne.
Wayne Bridge.
I know it as Butterfly Bridge.
Yeah, but what would you like to call it? You got any other names for it?
No.
Yes, you have.
I think it should be called the Butterfly Bridge.
You know what it's going to be called?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
It's going to be called the Embankment Renaissance Bridge.
Yes,
It is, isn't it? Where are you going? I'm just going down to the Embankment Renaissance Bridge. Meet you in the bottom. Which side of the Embankment Renaissance Bridge? ERB. The Herb Bridge. It's no good. I need to get closer. I've got an idea, in fact. Well, here comes Prince Charles now. I wonder what he really thinks of the bridge. What do you think of the bridge, sir? What do you think of the bridge, sir?
It's not bad.
I quite like it too.
Have you been across it?
Yes, we just popped across
It's a nice sort of spring.
Well, it's in keeping with the other one. Well, a very popular decision in the end. It was called the Butterfly Bridge. Thank you. Well, that was a thrill. Clearly, His Royal Highness has a way with words. But I better get this boat back. It's already an hour overdue, and quite frankly, the budget can't stand another £3.50 on top of everything else. So, until next time, cheerio. Whoa. Ah, the call of the wild, the dip of the paddle, the cry of the loon.
Hey now, sing now, let's get away now, away with words. Words like we say each and every day, away with words. What's in a name? What do you say? And so many words at the end of the day. I talk, you talk, they talk, we all talk.